So a set is very much like a list. Okay, what on earth do I mean by a list? Okay, so like a grocery list, you might be a list of items that you want to buy. It could also be an ingredient list. So an ingredient list will just list the items that are in the food. Okay, but they won't tell you the quantity that they're in there. So, grocery list or an ingredient list. Okay, but it's not gonna. We're not gonna care about the quantity. We don't care about repeats, right? So an example might be capital A. So we usually use capital letters when we're referring to a set. And I'm just going to make one now. How about A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is an example of a set. It's a list of items. It's a list of elements. Okay. A list of elements. Now with this list, I have A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. With a list, I don't actually care about the order, okay? I don't really care about the order of things. This would be equivalent to, this is the equal sign, of course. This is equivalent to 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. I don't actually care about the order. Those are 100% equivalent sets. Now, I mentioned a few times that I also don't care about repeats. There's no reason to write the letter A more than once because it's like an ingredient list. It's not like a recipe. So though this is equivalent, I would never write it like this. This is an equal set, but we'll never write it that way. We're never going to write it that way. We don't care about repeats. Not with a set, okay? We're just listing the elements. So I'm going to cross this off because we don't do that, even though it is technically equal, okay? They are equal sets, but I'm going to cross it off just so we remember we're not going to write it that way. Also, I'm using something called braces here. It's a brace. And that's our little notation that we use to refer to, we're talking about a set right now. Okay, so we use that. That is on your keyboard somewhere. It's on your keyboard on your laptop, but that is what we use. That's the notation we use. We use braces to refer to a set. Okay, so we don't care about order. Order doesn't matter, and we do not care about repeats. Okay. All right. Questions? Okay. Now there's one set I want to bring up that's super important, and that is called the empty set. And we're going to talk a lot about the empty set. Okay. The empty set is denoted, and that just means written, or it has its own symbol, circle crossed out. Okay, that's the empty set. Whenever we draw that, that means it's The empty set. Okay, well, what on earth is the empty set? The empty set is the set without any elements. So it's like if I put braces and there's nothing in there. There's nothing inside the empty set. There's nothing inside the empty set. Not even the number 0. Not even 0 is in the empty set. Not even 0 is in the empty set. Nothing is in the empty set. Complete void. The set with no elements is the empty set. It has nothing inside it. And you wouldn't think that would be that confusing, but it actually does get kind of confusing. Yeah, so there's not even the number 0 in there, right? We're going to come back to the empty set a lot today. But one thing I want to talk about, I've mentioned elements, and I've mentioned is in this particular set. And we have a notation for that. And so that's denoted with this E here. We have a little fancy E. It's a Greek letter. And this means is in the set. It's in the set. Okay. So for instance, with our capital A set, lowercase b is in the set A. So B is in capital A. Okay, that's how we would write it. B is in A. That's how I would say it. Okay. We also have its opposite. So not in, just has a slash through it, okay? And that means that element is not in this set, okay? An example of that might be C is not in A. That would not, well, it is, it's not in A. So we could write it that way. So anything with a slash through it means not in. Okay. So Z is not in A. Here we have B is in the set A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And we have Z is not in A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. We'll see that a lot. Is in, is not in. Those are important. Okay. If I'm ever going too fast or it doesn't make sense, you can write it in the chat. And of course, just say something in real life. Yeah, so that's what a set is. It's like a list, kind of like a grocery list or ingredient list. We use braces to show that. We have our element symbol, not like in chemistry class, but like in finite class. And yeah, so let's keep going. And the next thing I need to talk about is subsets. And those are kind of confusing.